Arriving in a strange world filled with cultivators, Chu Che suddenly becomes the owner of an entertainment system. Specifically, he becomes the owner of an entertainment park. The mighty Chu Che opened an anime, gaming, and fantasy entertainment park, which shattered the reality of many and led to the rise of countless experts. Thus, the young man became the most invincible man to all. Thank you, everyone. I will post daily, so stay tuned. In the Cagnan continent within Wonji town, several people were currently surrounding a majestic bed, weeping in sorrow. Young master, please don't fall asleep. Young master, please don't succumb to the darkness. If you go now, what are we supposed to do? The people wailed pitifully for the youth whose lifespan seemed fleeting away. His pale purplish face was truly a gruesome sight to behold. Everyone silently prayed in their hearts for his quick recovery. They had fed him the Elter True pill, which was said to possess the ability to bring one back from the gates of the dead, providing they still hadn't taken their last breath yet. And now they could only wait and hope that it worked. Soon, the youth's purplish complexion gradually changed to normal, and the near-dead figure on the bed trembled his eyelids painfully. It worked. The young master is awake. The heavens are merciful. The Che family will live, exclaimed a very sturdy man who trembled happily. Hearing that, many quickly celebrated loudly. But amidst the crowd, some looked at the entire situation in confusion before slipping away. Why was he still alive after they gave him a fake pill? The poison in the pill alone should have killed him. So why was he still alive? Mingrong furrowed his brows and struggled to open his eyes. But he soon found that he had no strength to do so. Weird. Didn't he just close his eyes a minute ago? So why are there people crying and wailing beside him? Was he dead? Yes, host. You're dead. Host, are you shocked? You died from burglars. They sneaked in and used a bat to knock you dead. Even though you were already asleep, they wanted to make sure that you didn't wake up. Host, say something. You're too noisy. Carrot, you say that you're a system, right? Yes, host. I'm the Heavenly AGF Entertainment System. Host, the AGF stands for anime, gaming, and fantasy. The host is currently in a fantasy world where people cultivate and can live for thousands of years. The system is now bound to the host. So the host's primary goal is to create the most powerful entertainment park of all time. All right. Wait. Host, you agree just like that. Otherwise, Thank you, host. You are the best. Now be quiet and let me think. Mingrong accepted the system immediately because he knew that at the end of the day, it was always best to have some cheats when in a new environment. Plus, if he wasn't sent directly to the reincarnation cycle, that meant that he had something wrong with him, probably his soul. So maybe using the system was the only way to fix his situation. Rather than spending time going back and forth with the system, it was best for him just to face reality. He had already died, and there was nothing he could do about it. The system looked at Mingrong and felt helpless. Even though his host was a genius gamer back on Earth, his E.Q was too terrible. 95% of the time, his host didn't even understand that his words were painful. If he hadn't processed and understood his host, he might have thought that the host didn't like him. Sigh. He only felt terrible for the people who would boil and roast because of his host. Oh well. The system quickly became happy again. He finally had a host. As for Mingrong, he was slowly digesting the original owner's memories. The original owner's name was Chu Che, and he was 16 years old this year. The original owner grew up in a loving home with his father, mother, and grandfather, as well as all those within his estate. They were currently in Wonji town. And even though it was relatively small compared to other towns and bigger cities, it was still a booming place. His grandfather had been the town lord, who then gave the position to his father. But during his father's second year as town lord, his father saved his mother, and they both fell in love. All these years, he had lived in complete bliss in their love until 4 years ago, when his mother's family found her and dragged her away. And his father left him in the care of his grandfather, and scurried away in hopes of saving his mother too. From what he knew, his mother came from a mysterious family in the upper realm. so his father had no hopes at all. But as fate would have it, one day, he met one of the men who kidnapped her by coincidence in another faraway city. His mother had been disobedient since she returned to her family. Looking at his father, the man decided to hold him hostage and threaten his mother into obeying his orders. So both of his parents were now in the upper realm. As for his grandfather, the poor guy received a severe injury when his mother was taken. And just last year he died. In the end, the young Chu Che took up the mantle as town lord. But how could the bandits and all those outside the town be content? For them, this was an opportunity to rule the entire town. But they knew that if they killed Chu Che up front, then Chu Che's uncle, a fierce general in one of the neighboring cities, would have their heads. That's why they decided to find a grade 3 alchemist to poison the bastard to death. Their scheme was what killed the original owner. Chu Che sighed as he listened to the people who were now celebrating amidst their teary eyes. Maybe it was the body's residual feelings, but he felt very warm inside for the first time in his life. Back on Earth, he lost his mother at childbirth and then lost his father at the age of 4. Following that, he was tossed around from one foster home to another until he became wealthy from playing video games. So he never received as much love as the original owner. He felt these people's lives and worries and decided to treat them well. Since he took over this body, he would have to bring his parents back when he got stronger. The original body's feelings were too strong, and he felt that he should treat them well. Now he was no longer Mingrong but Chu Che. Tomorrow, he'll find out more about this strange entertainment system. But for now, he was sleepy. The system looked at him speechlessly. What sort of host doesn't even want to know the system's functions? Woo! Host, you're a big bully. Chu Che woke up and decided to cultivate first. That's right. He tossed the system aside and decided to cultivate first. System _ As Chu Che cultivated, those who checked up on him earlier were dazed. Wasn't his recovery speed too fast? Was it because of the Elter pill? As expected, it really was magical. When they couldn't come up with an explanation for what was going on, they just placed all answers on the pill, even if it didn't make sense. After all, the pill was said to be so magical that it could bring those who were cultivators at the true Chi realm and the spirit realm back to life. Of course, the pill wouldn't work for those above the true Chi realm. So since their young master was only at the 5th Dan, the pill must have worked pretty well for him. Yes, it must have been the pill. Smiley face. With that, many eased their worries and went about their day. But unlike what they believed, the system was responsible for clearing out the poison in Chu Che's body and getting him back on track. Achoo! Boom! Chu Che, sitting with his legs crossed on his bed, slowly opened his eyes in confusion. Didn't he just break through an hour ago? Then why was he breaking through again after sneezing? Was there something wrong with his body? Did he get some unknown disease without knowing it? If someone heard or saw this, they might get tempted to beat the living daylights out of Chu Che. Instead of him being happy, he was questioning his fortune? Then what about them who spent decades and hundreds of years to move from Dan to Dan? Anyone who saw him now might faint from anger. Chu Che frowned. System. What's up with my body? The system's avatar appeared on his shoulder and rolled around with tears in its eyes. It was a little boy wearing a black suit. My darling host, so you've finally decided to pay attention to me. Do you know how lonely I've been? You know, I've suffered for you. There was a seal within your body that suppressed your cultivation. So I worked on undoing the seal and clearing out all the toxins from your body. Also, you are a product of your mother, who was one of the most talented geniuses in the upper realm, until she was betrayed. So what does my darling host expect? As for how she got betrayed, that is up to the host to find out. Chu Che was shocked. When he observed this body earlier on, he never saw any seal. Or could it be that only those as powerful as the person who placed the seal could see it? Carrot. Chu Che now felt like he needed to level up fast. The enemy might still be watching him. So this body was that of a genius? And coupled with all the built-up chi suppressed by the seal, it made sense that he would skip 7 entire levels and open his 12th meridian. When it came to cultivation in this world, there were over 20 daos. Daos were essentially cultivation ranks. For example, the first Tao of cultivation was the true Qi realm, the most fundamental Tao of all. And the second was the spirit converging realm, and so on. To advance from Tao to Tao, they must first open up all meridians in that Tao successfully. Each Tao had 913 dawn/meridian opening stages for one to level up. And the true Qi realm had a total of 13 dawn. Chu Che had just entered the 12th Dan, and was now a supreme true Qi master. At this rate, it wouldn't be long before he advanced to the 13th, also called the half-step spirit realm stage. From there, he would enter the second Tao, known as the spirit realm. For now, he was still very powerful when compared to many. The lower realm, also called the Cagnan continent by the locals, had cultivators either within the true Qi realm or the spirit realm. And the moment they broke through from spirit realm to origin realm, they could face their tribulations and ascend to a higher plane, which had people with stronger cultivation levels too. Once in a higher plane, they could always descend back again, provided they passed through the gates that allowed them to descend once every 5 years. Likewise, some people had ancient teleportation runes that could suppress and bypass the laws. But owning those wasn't an easy feat. Great clans in the upper realms had to team up to open such portals. That was probably how they came for Chu Che's mother. As for how his mother arrived here, this was also a mystery. After ascending the lower realm, one would go to the ordinary realm, followed by the upper realm, holy realm, and supreme realm. There were just many planes that one would have to pass before cultivating to immortality. No one knew if there was another plane after the last one, since no one had ever passed the cultivation standards needed for them to ascend the supreme realm. With Chu Che's current cultivation, he could live up to 270 years, and he was still the strongest within his town and amongst bandit strongholds around the vicinity. The system jumped up on his shoulders happily. "Host, you must want to know the system's functions, right?" "Hefem. What can you do?" "Host, like I said, I am the heavenly anime, gaming, and fantasy AGF entertainment system. So the host will perform tasks issued by the system to create the most powerful entertainment parks of all time." Chu Che massaged his chin. "When you say park, you mean like Disneyland?" "Yes, host. But rather than giving them amusement rides, it will have gaming sites, theaters, and many other buildings that will focus on cultivation." "Oh. And I'm guessing you want the entire town to be this entertainment park, right?" "Yes, host. But don't worry, people's homes won't be disturbed." That said, the host still needs to verbally agree before the system can take Wonji Town as the host's entertainment park. "All right. I agree. Good host. Processing request in 10, 9, 8. As the system spoke, it had already changed to a construction outfit and held out a tiny drill. And as it spoke, it drilled while floating over his shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding. Congratulations, host. Wonji Town is now the host's entertainment park. The host can now view everything within the park from the system's monitors. The system said happily, and Chu Che didn't waste any time before briefly glancing at the images on the monitor. This was great. He could check any place within the entire town now. Impressive. All right, so what's my first mission? My darling host, I'm glad you asked. You can check the mission panel to view any existing missions. The system said before sending out a mission. Ding. Chu Che looked at his screen. Open mission. Choose registration building. Task content. As the town lord and owner of the entertainment park, the host needs to register everyone within the town over time. And in the future, those that come into the entertainment park, Wonji Town, also need to get their registration cards too. Only those with these cards can have access to the park's facilities. Task reward. Renovation of registration building once a suitable building is chosen. Chu Che read the mission and frowned a bit. System, what about security? Well, you don't need to worry. Once the task is completed, no one will be able to destroy or damage these buildings. Not even an immortal. Additionally, since the entire town is now under the system's protection, no one will be able to hurt the host within the territory. So provided the host stays in the town, the host will be omnipotent. How very convenient. Chu Che looked at his mission again and decided to get it done as soon as possible. He needed to find an empty building, and the rest would be history. With that, he left the room and walked towards the exit amidst the anxious gazes of the guards, maids, and servants. "Oh, young master, please go back and rest. Your body isn't properly healed yet." "That's right, young master. Please treat your body kindly and rest for a few more days." "Young master, where are you going? If you need something, just let old Fru here deal with it." "Young master, if you step outside, I'll kill myself." Chu Che looked at the crowd following him and felt helpless. Was he a child? They were treating him as if he had just learnt how to walk. There were even 4 maids that dropped to the floor and clung onto his legs, preventing him from leaving. Rich brats who were deeply loved by their families truly had it all. "Young master! Young master! Young master! Oh! Young master, please don't go." Chu Che helplessly looked at the maids, who were now clinging onto his feet with all their might. All 4 girls were crying, as if he would die the moment he left his town lord estate. And to make matters worse, the butlers, servants, and guards all begged him too. Wasn't this supposed to be a cultivation world? Why were guys acting out of character from what he knew? Well, it was understandable that they were worried. After all, they had been told by the famous alchemist Master Caillou that he had to rest for 2 more weeks after taking the Elter pill. Chu Che knew that the pill was poisonous. So after he got well, he had been sneaking out to find the truth for himself. It wasn't that hard to find since he started with the servants who served and seemed loyal to Master Caillou while he was sick. Apparently, this alchemy Master Caillou was a 3-star alchemist who the Juong bandits had already hired to kill him. That's why after feeding Chu Che the Elter pill, Caillou hurriedly left. The pill he created would sustain Chu Che's life for 3 days before killing him. And within the first 3 days, Chu Che's vitality would improve steadily on the surface, making everything else think that it was working. But after that, he was supposed to die. So when everyone saw that Chu Che's situation had improved, they paid Caillou and even escorted him out of the city while listening to his instructions. That said, after 3 days, Chu Che woke up, which made everyone within his palace believe Caillou's words. But if Caillou knew that he didn't die, he would probably be shocked silly. Who could survive such a deadly poison within the lower realm? Was this some joke or something? Everyone in Chu Che's palace was grateful to Caillou. So when they remembered his instructions, they were terrified. Caillou had told them that if Chu Che walks around without resting for an additional 2 weeks, he might drop dead for updates. Caillou told them that the only way he was allowed to walk around is if he broke through to the 7th Dan. Of course, Caillou made this gibberish up, and they believed it. "Young master, please. For the sake of our Che family, we can't let you go." "That's right, young master. You need to rest for 2 more weeks, and then concentrate on breaking through. Only by doing so will your days be longer." Chu Che massages his chin. "Oh? What if I've already broken through?" "Young master, you're still within the 4th Dan. Breaking through to the 7th will take some time, so no need to rush and get a backlash." Old Fru said anxiously. "Old Fru, but what if I reach the 7th Dan? Then we will naturally let you leave, young master." "Good," Chu Che said casually before aiming at one of the rocks at the back. Boom! The rock shattered into several pieces. But that wasn't the most shocking thing. The move from the young master was so powerful that it suppressed them all. "Young master, you broke through?" "12 "Oh, 12? That's good, that's—" "Wait, did you just say 12th? 0. Everyone looked at Chu Che in both shock and awe as their mouths hung wide open. Since when did their young master break through from the 4th to the 12th? Forget about him being more powerful than them. No one in or around the town's vicinity was their young master's equal. Only those within well-known large cities would be able to cause damage to him. "Young master, when? How? You?" Old Butler Fru was the most shocked out of everyone. One should know that the lower realm's chi saturation was terrible. So typically, it might take 150 years just to break through the different stages within each cultivation realm. And the higher one ranked, the higher the number of years needed to break through each realm. Old Fru was 231 years at the 10th Dan. But his young master, who was only 16, had already surpassed him and was now at the 12th. How crazy was that? Young master, you've really put this old man to shame, old Fru said while smiling bitterly. The other guards and the maids also felt the same way too. All of them cultivated to protect the young master, even the maids. But now, who would be protecting whom? How could they be qualified to do their job now? Before, even though their young master was a little stronger than some of them, the gap wasn't too big. Now they felt useless. And since he had broken through, then why stop him? He was not only fine, but way stronger than they were. Everyone stepped aside and bowed their heads in shame, which confused Chu Che. System, why are they both sad and happy at the same time? Sigh. Host, I'm beginning to feel that I need to download an E.Q software in your brain. Host, they're happy that you're healthy, but they're also a little bit ashamed by their inability to break through. I see. He had only broken through because of the original body's supreme genes and the removal of the seal. In this lower world, he was indeed too outstanding. Chu Che looked at them calmly. Do you want to become stronger? Yes, young master. All right. I promise you all that I will make you stronger before the end of the month. Chu Che said casually, and everyone looked at Chu Che warmly. They felt like Chu Che was just trying to cheer them up. Unlike him, they weren't that talented. So how could they believe in such promises? They only felt like their young master was kind. Old Fru smiled happily. Young master, let's forget about all of that. Since you're healthy, then we won't stop you anymore. But where are you going? I don't have any idea. Then, young master, why exactly do you want to go out? To look for something. Old Fru looked to the sky silently. Young master, will it kill you to say more sentences? After contemplating for what seemed like an eternity, old Fru turned his attention to Chu Che again. Young master, I know you're looking for something. But what exactly is this something? An empty building. Why? Why what? Sigh. Forget it. Old Fru decided to just do as he says and ask questions later. Provided he was with the young master, then that was all that mattered. Young master, not too far away from here, there's a building within our control that we don't use anymore. It used to be a store owned by the Gregor clan. They used to be at loggerheads with the old master. They fought against our family for a while, until they were successfully driven out of town. And ever since then, all their properties now belong to our clan. Good. Let's take a look at it. Old Fru decided to try his luck again. Young master, why do you want the building? Chu Che froze. Because of my master's instructions. Master? Since when did the young master have a master? Walking around, old Fru kept looking at Chu Che in confusion from time to time. Master? Since when did the young town lord have a mysterious master? More surprisingly was the fact that this mysterious master left him an inheritance and disappeared from the lower region altogether. Even though old Fru was happy for the young master, he couldn't help but feel anxious. Did the young master accept the inheritance just so that he could rescue his parents? The mistress's family is too powerful. So if the young master went there, wouldn't he just be marching towards death? No. He had to discourage the young master and keep him safe. Young master, even though you were left with an inheritance, I don't think that it's wise of you to leave the town now. Chu Che looked at old Fru in confusion. When did I say I would leave? You aren't going? Chu Che shook his head. Old Fru, I'm the town lord, so how can I leave the town in this state? Ha 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 ha. Good, good, good. Young master, nothing is more than your safety. So staying here is best. Chu Che agreed with old Fru. It's just that they had two different understandings. Chu Che said that he couldn't leave the town in the state in which it was, but old Fru thought that he had decided to stay in the lower plane permanently. Old Fru visibly relaxed when he heard Chu Che's response. Provided he statues far away from the higher the upper realm, then all would be well. That was the promise old Fru made to his parents, so he wouldn't break it. Very soon, their carriage stopped in front of a single-floored abandoned store. Chu Che looked at the beautiful yet simple building and nodded in satisfaction. Worthy of being a store onward by his family's former enemy. Even though it was a single-floored building, it was still very wide and gave off a majestic vibe. Just from a single glance, it was clear to see that the Gregor clan that had been driven out of the town years back must have been a powerful one. Old Fru unlocked the massive door and followed Chu Che in alongside some guards. The place looked like a post-apocalyptic building. There were chairs on the ground, tables turned upside down, spider webs, dust, you name it. From the looks of it, the previous owners must have quickly grabbed all they could and made a run for it when they were driven out. The entire store had been ransacked and left as it was. The place hadn't even been cleaned for ages since no one had bought or used the building for fear of offending the Gregor clan if they decided to come back or take revenge. But what did Chu Che care? If they had the ability, let them come and pry it out of his hands. System, I chose this building. My darling host, it's not that I'm mean, but if you don't clean it up first, it will be impossible for it to be accepted. I mean, look at it. Chu Che looked at the desolate, messy interior, thought for a while and nodded subconsciously. Old Fru, send some people to clean up the place. Yes, town lord. When out of the estate, he was the young town lord and not the young master. With that, Old Fru turned around and sent 2 guards to do the task while waiting alongside Chu Che and a few other guards. Chu Che looked around and decided to begin cleaning up. He began by picking items on the ground. But the moment Old Fru and the guards saw this, their expressions stunned ghastly pale. Cero. Young town lord, what are you doing? No, you just stay there, and we will do it for you. My lord, you want this cleaned, right? Say no more. I'll get it done right away. My lord, please step back. Your robes will get dirty. My lord. Straight face. Chu Che looked at the people helplessly. Old habits die hard. He was used to taking care of himself back on Earth. So he subconsciously began cleaning without even thinking about it, which shocked everyone silly. Old Fru was so shocked that he almost had a stroke. And without even realizing it, he had already begun lecturing Chu Che. In the minds of everyone else, they just thought that he must have wanted it to be cleaned up fast, if he couldn't even wait for the servants to get here. Thinking about it like that, they decided to begin cleanup, while waiting for those who would come over and clean the place up. After all, they too were curious about what the young lord intended to do with the building. Their young lord seems to have turned into an even more mysterious person after getting cured. He suddenly looked more centered and calm than his previous self. Of course, they attributed it to the fact that the young man almost died a couple of days ago. So this alone was enough to make anyone mature fast. And coupled with the fact that the young lord still planned to rescue his parents, it was understandable that he grew up this fast. Their young lord had continuously experienced one problem after another. But somehow, they felt that this was his turning point. They were now curious to know what inheritance the young lord's master had left for him. Provided he grew stronger, it was a blessing to them as his subordinates. Shrup. The guards were busy non-stop. Old Fru lectured Chu Che painstakingly. After all, to him, the young lord was like a son to him since he had practically raised him too. This would not do. How could the young lord clean? Old Fru thought anxiously before turning towards the cleanup crew that had just arrived. Everyone, quickly get to work and clean this place up. I want it completely spotless. Hurry. The lord needs it urgently. Yes. Chu Che, _. In a flash, the maids, who were also cultivators, hurriedly got to work. They flew past the floors with rags in their hand and cleaned the place up at an incredible speed. Chu Che awkwardly looked at them in guilt. Even though he hoped to get it done fast, he didn't mean they would work like this, okay? Whatever. What's done is done. 2 hours later, the entire building was thoroughly cleaned. You did well. Thank you, my lord. It is our duty to serve you and the Che family. The maids all knelt humbly, showing their dedication and glee to hearing Chu Che's praise. Coupled with the fact that their lord was kind to everyone, many had been here since they were young and even had their last names changed to Che. So they took the Che clan as their family. Of course, it made it all the better that the lord they were serving was good-looking. Their lord was so handsome. Of course, the Loe.Q Chu Che saw a few blushing and thought they were all red from cleaning seriously. They must be tired, he thought. And the system, who saw the whole thing, could only look up to the heavens and pray for strength. System, what do I do when my host is so dense? Waiting for answers. At the moment, Chu Che, who had been marked as dense, was currently occupied with something else. System, it's clean. Accept the building now. System, it's clean. Accept the building now. Underscore. Building accepted. Congratulations, my darling host. The system will need to change the building's interior, so the host will have to wait alongside everyone outside for 4 minutes. With that, Chu Che led everyone outside curiously. What would a building reconstructed by the heavens look like? Once everyone was outside the building, a strong gust of wind swirled around the entire building as if it were a tornado. No, it was stronger and so tall that it reached past the clouds above. What sort of wind skill was this? It looked like a giant monster in the form of a tornado, and its spinning force was too strong. But funny enough, even though they felt the powerful pressure from it, the swirling tornado winds weren't pulling them or anything else in. It just swirled around the building non-stop. Nonetheless, everyone anxiously surrounded their young master to protect him. Chu Che stopped them helplessly. Don't worry. This one of the skills that I learned from my master. So you all can relax. Everyone froze. What? The young master did this? 0. This kind of wind technique is most definitely a high-grade skill. And the fact that it wasn't sucking them in also told them that their young master had complete control and precision. Such a dangerous thing should no doubt be able to kill countless cultivators and people around. But the young master was able to control it without hurting others. Such a thing could only be possible if one had reached the peak state of enlightenment while mastering the skills in their manuals. Only a handful of people in the lower realm had ever reached peak enlightenment state after training and cultivating for hundreds and hundreds of years. But their young master of 16 years had already done it. They looked at him in awe. The young master is too awesome. Chu Che smiled embarrassingly when the system translated their feelings to him. Well, for now, he could only keep lying to them that he had some mysterious master who taught him all this. Soon, the tornado disappeared. Ding! Remodeling is now complete. You may now enter. Chu Che secretly nodded and decided to first look for any noticeable changes outside the building. Soon, he saw 2 separate signs on the building. One stated the building's name, Registration Hall, while the other was a wide board with a list of rules, prices, warnings, and benefits. Working hours, from 8:05 p.m. This period is strictly for the registration hall only. The attraction sites stay open till 11 p.m. Rules. Rule 1. No cursing, bullying, or fighting is allowed. All troublemakers will be babed up, spanked, thrown outside of the hall, and banned with immediate effect. Rule 2. No cutting the line, no matter your status, or you will get warned or banned. Yellow warnings mean suspension for specific periods of time, while red warnings meant permanent banning. Again, if anyone gets more than 5 yellow warnings, they will be banned and blacklisted. Note, each attraction has additional rules that can be viewed on the building site. This is just the registration hall, so members should take note. Price. 1 new members, 200 gold coins, or 10 grade 1 beast cores, 7 grade 2 beast cores, 5 grade 3 beast cores, 3 grade 4 beast cores, or a single grade 5 beast core. Members can use beast cores as coins too. 2 old members who lost their cards and need replacements. 400 gold coins, or double the amount of beast cores. Do you think that it's unfair? Then you shouldn't lose it in the first place. What are you? Stupid? Serve you right. Remember, no one can access these attractions without your cards, and no one can use these cords other than yourselves. Note again that prices for all attractions will be listed on the boards by each park building where they are located. Additional benefits. Recommending 3 friends will get you 6 hours of free time within any attraction. Chu Che looked at the board and nodded. System, in the rules section, what do you mean by troublemakers will get babed up? Host, have you ever watched the Jetsons? Chu Che tilted his head in confusion. Yeah. Why? Host, you will definitely think of me as a genius after this. the system said while changing its clothes into that of a teacher's. It even wore glasses and held a pointing stalk to a mini blackboard. Host, your question is an easy one. Do you remember Rosie, the robot with antennas sticking out of her ears and big red eyes? Yes, Chu Che replied. Well, you see, there will be 10 Rosies working in the registration hall. Aren't I great? In fact, all your staff will be Rosies within the entertainment park/town, and they will be under your control. Okay, but what does that have to do with getting babed up? Chu Che was even more confused than ever. If you're going to change outfits and teach, then teach properly. The system had left him so confused. What exactly did the rules mean when it said troublemakers would get babed up? Host, if you remember, Rosie and the Jetsons had a mind of her own and was sometimes sassy but still cute. So when creating her, I amplified her capabilities to fit this world so that she can be strong enough to assist the host. With that, her personality came to life even more. And now she has motherly instincts. Host, aren't I great? I created a caring robot with motherly instincts. In other words, she feels the need to diaper people up, spank their butts when they're bad, and kick them to the moon. Yes, but how does kicking them miles away count as mother instincts? Host, don't you humans usually say that one needs to be firm with disobedient children? Obviously, she is doing her best as a great mother. Host, what's with your expression? Chu Che had secretly given up on the system. Forget it. He was fine with whichever way Rosie was. Who didn't like Rosie the robot? She was arguably the most viewed character that kept everyone glued to the show. In a way, he too wanted to see how she looked in the flesh, or should he say robotic parts. Of course, all this time, everyone else was so focused on reading the board too. Even though they were shocked that these boards had magically appeared, they were more intrigued by the contents on them instead. Old Fru massaged his beard curiously. Young master, what are these attraction things you speak of? Those? Old Fru, a while back, I told you all that I can make you stronger. All that is possible with the help of these attractions. To put it simply, they will be the main reason for your future growth. But before you can use them, first, you have to get a membership card. Everyone else who was keenly listening looked at Chu Che in confusion. Membership card? What was that? Chu Che smiled. Let's go. You'll understand once you get in. With that, Chu Che led them in. Swah! The double-sided sliding doors opened on their own, and everyone stepped in. What? How was this possible? The scene before them made them dizzy. Was this the place they had just cleaned up a few minutes ago? The entire room was white, while the fixtures within the room were all black or red. They had never seen anything like it. Chu Che looked around and nodded in satisfaction. The interior looked a little more like a 10-star hotel's lobby, if one existed. In fact, the 7-star Burj Khalifa back on Earth had nothing on this one. The chandeliers, beautiful designs, and fixtures made the room look very luxurious, neat, but spacious. And even though this building was a single-floored one, mysteriously, the inside was 2 floors. Space formation. Everyone's lips quivered excitedly. I'm not dreaming, am I? Did the young master just change this room in a flash? Our young master is mighty. How many people can do this? I dare say that even those in major cities can't do what our young town lord did. This is just too amazing. The young master's teacher is definitely a powerful immortal. Just look at this space formation. It's without a doubt otherworldly. Everyone was filled with hope the more they observed the space. When their young master told them that he could make them powerful, they just thought that he was consoling them. But now they didn't think so. With a teacher this powerful, their young master must have a way to make them strong. Ha 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 ha. Their Chu family was going to rise to even greater lengths after this. Everyone walked in feeling like they had entered a holy room. And soon they heard some strange beeping noises. Beep, beep, beep. Welcome, master. Chu Che turned his head and was met with 10 robot Rosies, each rushing towards him warmly. Their red eyes turned slightly pink, and their ears were beeping merrily. Master, pet me. Pet me. Pet me, master. How cute. Chu Che rubbed their heads playfully, while appreciating all their robotic features. What good craftsmanship. Who would have thought that he would see so many Rosies live? He found them cute and adorable. The robots took him as their master, creator, and father. So they obeyed him wholly. "All right, Rosies, we have guests." The robots paused and casually glanced towards old Fru, and the rest indifferently. "Oh." Their eyes turned red again when looking at the guests. "Humph." With that, they turned around, went back to the registration counters again, and acted as customer service representatives. Everyone's eyes twitched. Did they just get snubbed and looked down on by puppets who weren't even human? The difference in treatment was really something. Chu Che was both embarrassed and confused as well. "System, didn't you say that they had motherly instincts? They do host, but have you forgotten that they are typically sassy? Since you're their owner, they see no need to be all cute with others. But don't worry, my darling host." "Why?" "Because they can never argue with customers or cause any disturbances. Even if they don't like something, they will only act when someone goes against the rules. In the Jetson, they were made robots, so they, more than anyone else, know about these things." The more the system spoke, the more it puffed its chest out in pride. All in all, they're just sassy. The host shouldn't forget that their working stations are located at the registration desk. So they aren't technically working since no one is standing in line yet. What about their so-called motherly instincts? "Host, that's only for troublemakers." My darling host, I did a good job making them. So I guarantee you that nothing will go wrong." Chu Che nodded while listening. Since the system said so, then he wouldn't worry about them. Plus, they were just so darn cute. All right? Ding. The host's next mission is here. Perfect. Chu Che quickly looked at his mission board. Open mission, choose another building for the first attraction. Task, with the registration hall in full swing, how can there be no attraction in your entertainment park? Please choose another building close as well. The system is the Heavenly Anime, Gaming, and Fantasy Entertainment System. So the first attraction will fill into those categories. Mission rewards. A renovation of the new gaming building. 30 computers, 30 futuristic virtual reality headgear, and 2 streaming TVs. Deadline 24 hours. Punishment. 3 days in punishment space, where the host will be torn to shreds over and over again. Chu Che was surprised about the fact that he had punishment this time, but he soon shook it off. What was there to worry about? He just had to look for another building within the next 24 hours. More so, he was looking forward to playing games again. He was a pure otaku whose entire life revolved around games, anime, and anything related to fantasy. So how can he not be thrilled? Now he had to focus on his next task. But before that, he wanted everyone here to register immediately. Without wasting any more time, everyone formed lines excitedly. And soon, they were finally given their cards amidst their stunned expressions. Everyone looked at the cards in amazement. Of course, cards already existed and were mainly used by sect members, those in famous medicine halls around the lower realm, and so on. These cards existed with certain ruin formations, so they weren't shocked by the membership card's existence. What left them in a daze was the unique card design and outlook, as well as its functions. The card was blue and almost transparent. Chu Che himself thought it looked like one of those advanced sci-fi devices. Its appearance was just one of the factors that made everyone's jaw drop. The main thing was its functions. None of them had ever seen or heard of such a card before. So this was truly an eye-opener for them. Old Fru stepped forward to take his card. "Sir, place your hands on the ball," one of the Rosies said. Old Fru looked at the ball before him, doing as instructed. And soon, the cold silver-colored ball turned green. Ding! "Here you go, sir. Your membership card. Please tap the screen and use your mind to activate it. Only you can unlock your card. No one else can." Old Fru nodded hurriedly and took the card a little excitedly. Right now, the very light card in his hand suddenly felt heavy to him. He felt like he was holding all the money in the world. He looked at the card and almost couldn't believe it. Was it really that magical? How could the young master give out such treasures so easily? Old Fru was bewildered. Sweat formed on his hands as his fingers trembled slightly. The puppet said that only he could turn on the card, meaning that it had a link to his mind. But how? Did the link form when he placed his hands on the ball? He had never heard of such a thing before. Was it a good idea for the young master to give them such treasures? What if it invited unwanted trouble for the young master? Old Fru took a deep breath and then wiped his sweaty hands on his clothes. Well, since he now had the card, he might as well use it, no? With that, he touched the card's flat surface and said the word activate within his mind. Click! Like magic, a clear, bright light illuminated the card's flat surface, revealing a tiny picture of himself on the top left-hand side of the screen, as well as his name and a menu tab, which led to other subtabs like currency balance, cultivation level, acquired cultivation techniques, membership status, whether active, on suspension or banned, discounts and benefits. What was this? Were these the tab things that the puppet mentioned earlier? He bit his quivering lips in silence before placing his other hand over the card, as if protecting it from any thieves. His previous thought of secretly giving it back had been thrown out the window. Well, the young master had a powerful master, so what was he worrying so much? He smiled cheerfully and touched the tabs according to Rosie's instructions. And very quickly, they understood how this membership thing worked. Look, it changed into a wristband. My card changed into a wristband. Look. Soon, something exclaimed in shock, calling everyone's attention. Their eyes bulged out in shock. What did they just see? Nima, what is this operation? How is that even possible? Let me see. F *****. It's true. It turned into a wristband. Wait, can my card do that too? Let me try it. Me too. I want to try it out as well. Bro, I'm right behind you. Old Fru listened to the excited guards and maids around him in a daze. His hands trembled with excitement as he clicked on the wristband tab below the main menu. What happened next was something that Old Fru would never forget in his life. Schwa! His card transformed midair into a wristband and attached itself to his wrist. Old Fru rubbed his streaming hands over the blue wristband gently, as if he were striking a lover. What else could such a godly artifact be? Out of curiosity, he tried prying it off. But no matter how hard he tried, it wouldn't come off. Why? He borrowed his brows for a bit, before remembering the notice he saw earlier. Switch to card mode, he said inwardly. And just like that, it changed again. Good. This way, no one could steal it from him without his knowledge. Ha 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 ha. Old Fru laughed and rubbed his fingers against his baby. That's right. The card was his baby. Anyone have a problem with that? Now, Old Fru had no doubt in his mind that the young master could increase their strength. Everyone's excitement was really over the roof at this point. They all turned their attention to Chu Che in awe. Young master, the membership card is truly one of a kind. Even those in big cities can't compare. Of course they can't. Who is our young master? How can they compare to him? That's right. Have you ever seen such a card before? This is just too magical, all right? Yeah. How can you compare this with those broken down cards? Our young master's cards are definitely the best. Young master, when will this attraction thingy be ready? Yes, young master. My body is already itching as it is. When will it be ready? Everyone stared at Chu Che pitifully with big googly eyes, as if they would break down and cry if he didn't hurry it up. Seeing how helpless Chu Che was, Old Fru coughed and stepped forth. Now, everyone. You know how busy the young master is. Maybe we might have to wait a little longer. But I'm sure the young master already has that plan, right? Old Fru said with a broad smile while caressing his card. You wouldn't dare to take long, right, young master? Chu Che looked at Old Fru speechlessly as if saying, You too? Old Fru didn't care how shameless he looked at this point. He was this close to increasing his strength. So how could he patiently wait for Chu Che to take his sweet time? Their Che family needed strength fast. Who knew when the enemy would strike again? Young master, the attraction thing needs to be done immediately. Chu Che nodded as well, but for the reasons Old Fru had. Well, you're right. All we need to do is find another empty building, clean it up, and the rest is history. Young master, that's it? Then say no more. I know just the place. Everyone, let's go clean up the attraction site. Yeah. Chu Che, _. Chu Che shook his head wryly and just let them be. Yeah. Everyone marched out and exclaimed as if they were preparing for battle. But old Fru, who was leading them excitedly, suddenly stopped. "Young master, shouldn't we assign security around the building? What if someone tries to break in, steal everything here and the puppets?" Chu Che shook his head and pointed at all 10 Rosies. "We don't need security because we have them. Don't underestimate their capabilities. They are equivalent to an entire army." Were they that strong? Everyone felt cold sweat run down their necks. Luckily, they did nothing to piss off these walking disasters. They even decided to call them by their names starting from today. Although each of them was called Rosie, that name was more like their family name. From their bold name tags, one could see that they all had different first names like Gia Rosie, Rue Rosie, etc. In short, everyone soon forgot that they were puppets, robots, and decided to treat them like real people. After all, which puppet could show the range of emotions these Rosies showed? It was better to be safe than sorry. With that, they left the registration office and hurried along to find and clean up the building for the new attraction thingy. As they cleaned, they couldn't help but wonder what it would be. What exactly was this attraction thingy? Hours passed by very quickly, and soon the gaming hall had already been established. Everyone was eager to try them out, but for some reason, after cleaning, they couldn't enter the building yet. They looked at the massive, double-sided door impatiently and almost began scratching on it as if they were pitiful kittens. "Young master, what's going on? Why isn't it opening up?" "Yeah, young master. Why can't we go in? Don't you want us anymore?" Titi. Once again, Chu Che was speechless. Other people transmigrate and enter a world where their families are either tearing each other apart with wicked uncles and so on. But even though these scenarios are 99% accurate in this world, he just so happened to be born in an exceptionally good one, where he was the only young master. Could it be that he was truly the son of destiny? You can't go in because it's not open for business yet. Look, the rules and opening hours there. It will be open starting tomorrow from 8 a.m. 11 p.m. So you can only wait. Everyone had tears in their eyes from listening to him before sighing. Sigh. Why did tomorrow feel like it was years away? Chu Che didn't know whether to laugh or cry with this group of people. Forget it. Who was he kidding? They were already growing on him. System, must I be at the attraction site all day? No. My darling host can go in and out whenever he chooses. Be it opening or closing hours, as the park's owner, he can stay as long as he pleases. Chu Che nodded in satisfaction. At least the system didn't make him stay there all day. One should know that he was currently the town lord, so he still had official matters to attend to as well. He couldn't afford to spend all his time there. However, my darling host, I must warn you that you must stay within the park buildings for at least 6 hours a day, except on some rare occasions. Okay. Chu Che didn't have any issues with the rules. Knowing that the place wouldn't open yet, everyone unwillingly left alongside Chu Che. They went about their day looking at the sun 100 times over. Why won't you sit? Why are you still up there? Their impatience was driving them insane. And just a little while after they left, 3 youths stood before the building curiously. Gaming hall? What was that? In front of the building, 3 young men were currently reading the rules on the board in confusion. And who were these youngsters? They were all sect disciples of one of the most renowned sects, the Profound Sect, located in Fanglang City. The Cagnan continent had 3 provinces, Ta, Bailong, and Yanging Province. Currently, they were in the Ta province, which in turn had several sects and cults spread out. And the Profound Sect was in one of the most famous cities far away from Menji town. These boys had just finished their sect mission, and were here to relax before traveling back a few days later. These 3 youngsters were Bo Su, Yen Jin, and Bin Owo. The 16-year-old Bo Su was the leader of the group, and was the 3rd young master of the clan patriarch from the famous Su clan in Fanglang City. As for the rest, they too came from famous clans as well. But because their fathers were regular elders rather than patriarchs, they didn't have a higher standing than Bo Su. Nonetheless, they were brothers through and through who had encountered life-threatening dangers together. The confusion in their eyes was very eminent when they saw the rules on the board. Brother Bo, what is this gaming hall thing? Bo Su squinted his eyes at the board I don't know, but I think it's probably some challenge hall. The others nodded as well. Brother Bo was probably right. This was probably a challenge hall where cultivators risked their lives by challenging each other while the audience gambled. But if this was the case, why was this challenging hall so small? It looked like an ordinary store and not a large arena type of building. So how could anyone challenge another in there? Additionally, why would a challenge hall charge per hour? And why was it so damn expensive? Nothing here made any sense. Challengers didn't need to pay anything since they were risking their lives for the prize at the end. And the audience could only place their bets the way they wanted from their pockets, and not a fixed price that was charged by the hour. So in the end, who were they charging? Bosu and the rest smelt a dead rat here. Everyone felt like this thing was too fishy. Everyone felt that everything was too fishy. Brother Bo, does this town have the capabilities and funds for having a challenger hall? Unlikely. But if they do, then it means that there are some hidden forces in this town that we aren't aware of. After all, not just anyone can open up a challenger hall. You're right. And judging from the punishment rules, it looks like the people behind it are powerful. I agree. But still, the prices are too much, right? Who would pay that amount for a single hour? They are clearly trying to rip these people off. Yen Jin added. That's also another possibility. Maybe these townsfolk haven't been to bigger cities before, so they don't know that they're losing money to these people. How about this? It'll be open tomorrow. You're right. In that case, we'll know whether it's a scam or not. I'm interested in seeing what this gaming hall has to offer. And if they can't satisfy us after taking our money, we'll make our move on them. Worst comes to it, we can always use the escape talismans Master gave us. That's right. Tomorrow, we'll see what tricks they have up their sleeves. But brothers, the board said that we must have membership cards if we want to participate in the games. Membership cards? What's that? I have no idea. But there are instructions here on the box. Park maps. Insert hand to receive map. This. Do you think it's a trap? Degré. The trio looked at the box as if trying to laser its contents. Who could blame them? Apart from being very skeptical, they were also anxious as well. They even crouched down and tried sending in their swords or weapons. But for some reason, it didn't even go in. Could there be a barrier around the home that only recognizes flesh? Did such a thing even exist? They shook their heads at the silliness of their thoughts. But the more they thought about it, why did it seem to be the case? They were all very perplexed now. Should they put their hands in there and try their luck? But wasn't that scary? Who knows if something on the other side would bite or slice off their hands? What to do? They shuddered when picturing themselves losing their hands. Should they or should they not do it? Bosu thought for a while before taking a deep breath and calmly putting his hand in the strange box attached to the building's front wall. Here goes nothing. Brothers, if they dared to do this, they won't do anything to us. And just as he finished talking, something dropped in his hands, secretly startling him. Of course, he still showed his brothers his heroic, confident look. But his heart almost gave way just now. The box was attached to the building and had a hole, asking people to send their hands in. No one could see what happens to the hands once it's in the hole. So no matter how confident he was in his analysis, there was a part of him that was still scared of having his hands sliced or bitten off. Bosu pulled out his hand and sighed in relief. His face was calm, but his brain was a party, dancing around in glee. He was right. They wouldn't do anything to them, since they dared publicly put this box out for all to see. They were worrying over nothing. At least the people behind this strange place had some common sense. Now it was time to take a closer look at the map. Silence. Everyone froze the moment Bosu unfolded the map. 0 increment 0. What were their eyeballs seeing? The moment the map was opened, it made a mysterious magical sound that made them feel like they were looking at a priceless object. Hoawa. The epic sound lasted for 5 seconds. And while the music played, a very bright light shone from within the map, almost blinding them. The F*******. Everyone closed their eyes and looked away with one of their hands blocking their faces. Hoea! The music came to an end, and the light dimmed. Soon, everything became clear, and the map seemed to have a life of its own. Bosu's heart almost leaped out of his chest. What sort of magical map were they looking at? His eyes gleamed with excitement and expectations. Suddenly, something strange happened. On the empty map, several words slowly popped out word-for-word writing. "Welcome to Wonji Entertainment Park, Mr. Bosu." What? Bosu was so shocked that he almost dropped the map in fright. Did the map just mention his name? How did it know who he was? There were artifacts inscribed with rune markings on them that could detect a cultivator's true age, cultivation level, and so on. But one that could know their names, without the individual registering one's name, didn't exist. In essence, runes were unique markings that needed time and dedication to master and can be written on talismans, charms, inscribing on knives, and other objects, all of which invoked or gathered chi for specific uses. And an array was just a magical circle done with the use of runes. Of course, formations were typically 5 or more large arrays, magic circles, in different orientations, and the larger runes within each array were generally used as formation points. In short, runes were the key to it all. And at times, some runes could be hidden while others remained visible. In fact, Bosu's sect badge had no visible name on it. But if he took it back to the sect, they would be able to know that it was his. His sect badge has a particular rune inscribed by the sect that registered his identity. But this was only done after he passed the entrance examination and had his information recorded. This was the case for all sect members. How would the elders and sect officials know who was who without recording their information first? He was a little famous since he came from a big clan, so they might have already known about him. But what about others who came from ordinary backgrounds? Everything was recorded during the entrance examination, before having their identities inscribed on the badges. But in this case, he didn't do any of these. So how did the map know his name? And how could it start communicating and writing out things on its own? Was this a sole artifact of a fallen immortal that accidentally dropped to the lower realm? More importantly, how could the owners of this building give out such a treasure for free? Were they crazy? What the hell were they thinking? Bosu's hands trembled as he watched the words appear magically, line by line. A word of caution, Mr. Bo. This map will belong to you for just a day, and after that, it will vanish. But if you want to keep it forever, you'll have to get a membership card. To activate the map, all you have to do is say the word activate. You can do so either verbally or through your mind. Once more, welcome to the Wonji Entertainment Park, Mr. Su. 0. What? He could communicate with the map using his mind? Did the map just mention his name? How did it know who he was? There were artifacts inscribed with rune markings on them that could detect a cultivator's true age, cultivation level, and so on. But one that could know their names, without the individual registering one's name, didn't exist. In essence, runes were unique markings that needed time and dedication to master and can be written on talismans, charms, inscribing on knives, and other objects, all of which invoked or gathered chi for specific uses. And an array was just a magical circle done with the use of runes. Of course, formations were typically 5 or more large arrays, magic circles, in different orientations, and the larger runes within each array were generally used as formation points. In short, runes were the key to it all. And at times, some runes could be hidden while others remained visible. In fact, Bosu's sect badge had no visible name on it. But if he took it back to the sect, they would be able to know that it was his. His sect badge has a particular rune inscribed by the sect that registered his identity. But this was only done after he passed the entrance examination and had his information recorded. This was the case for all sect members. How would the elders and sect officials know who was who without recording their information first? He was a little famous since he came from a big clan, so they might have already known about him. But what about others who came from ordinary backgrounds? Everything was recorded during the entrance examination, before having their identities inscribed on the badges. But in this case, he didn't do any of these. So how did the map know his name? And how could it start communicating and writing out things on its own? Was this a sole artifact of a fallen immortal that accidentally dropped to the lower realm? More importantly, how could the owners of this building give give out such a treasure for free. Were they crazy? What the hell were they thinking? Bosu's hands trembled as he watched the words appear magically, line by line. A word of caution, Mr. Bo. This map will belong to you for just a day. And after that, it will vanish. But if you want to keep it forever, you'll have to get a membership card. To activate the map, all you have to do is say the word activate. You can do so either verbally or through your mind. Once more, welcome to the 1G Entertainment Park, Mr. Su. 0. What? He could communicate with the map using his mind? As for the matter of friends on the map, they could only be added from the membership card with the consent of both parties. And the friends would automatically turn purple on the map after getting added. So whenever Bosu was in the park, the map would show him if any of his friends were in the park or not. That said, the map didn't show any enemies at all. All enemies and strangers were grouped as people, aka the many gray dots passing him by on the streets. Again, one could turn invisibility mode with their membership cards if they didn't want their friends to know they were here. At this point, rather than red, they would show up as gray on the map. But changing one's status could only be done from their membership cards. And as the tiny dots moved, they seemed to be leaving a trace of disappearing footsteps. Everything was just too awe-inspiring. Again, the moment the map got activated, it showed Bosu and the rest their current location, as well as the park buildings in green. And what made them stunned was the fact that the names of the buildings floated above the green building dots like a waving flag animatedly. Of course, there were only 2 buildings on the map, the registration building and the gaming hall. Additionally, besides the building name was its current status. For example, the registration building had the word open beside it, while the gaming hall had the word closed beside it. There were also several lines on the map, which represented the public roads one could take to get to any of the park buildings on the map. How convenient. Seeing Bosu's map, Yenjin and Bin Oo quickly dashed towards the map-receiving box in a flash. What a joke. How could they let this sort of opportunity slip by just like that? The map itself was a treasure, so how could they not want it? Hey, I got here first, so I should be the one to take one first. No way. Let me go first. Who knows if the place will run out of maps after placing your hand in the hole. Forget it. I'm going first. Boom. In a flash, the duo raised their fists against each other. Both had the same cultivation base, so they were equally matched. Iron palm fist. Yenjin struck out his palm, creating an invisible but terrifying palm-like chi that rushed towards Bin Oo. But how could Bin Oo be outdone? Dancing beetles. Boom. Dust raised in the air, making those who stopped to observe, failed to see who had won in the end. To many, their moves were so fast that they didn't see how each other made their move. Meanwhile, Bosu just stood there helplessly. All this while he had been trying to talk some sense into them. But no one of them seemed to hear him. It was like he was completely invisible and didn't exist. Nonetheless, he knew that no matter how both fought each other, they wouldn't severely injure themselves. They might not look like it, but those two were close to each other and had passed through life and death situations while saving one another. They often challenged themselves by fighting to see who was the strongest amongst themselves. And they truly learned and bettered themselves through challenges like these. So all Bosu could do was sigh while looking at the massive crowd that they had gathered. Boom! The dust finally settled, and both parties were still standing firm with their fists clashing against each other. But before they had the chance to continue, a mysterious but domineering voice rang out from the building, making them freeze. Please be advised. Even though troublemakers can only be banned or punished during the building's opening/working hours, fighting in front of the gaming hall during closing hours will be considered a direct attack on the building. So for building safety and defense, even though you will not be banned, all troublemakers could still be punished for attempting to destroy park property. You have been warned.